Hey y'all, here we are again, round three. I will tell you, it has been a different experience making these videos than I expected it to be. Um, it has been really weird. You know, um, the people who have come to me, the responses I've gotten. Um, I guess it's just been a little different than I kind of expected. I expected to get some hate, and so far, I haven't gotten any yet. Of course, this has just started, so y'all have yet to hear the worst of it.
Y'all, I can't tell you how many times I just heard myself say in the first minute of this video.
Alright, so I'm gonna pick up again where I left off in the last video. I talked about me starting IVs. And at this point, I'm still working at the Circle K. Buckle in for this one. So I get ready to go to work one day and do my dope and I pack up the dope that I need for work because Lord knows I can't go a whole shift without getting high. And I drive to Murfreesboro because I'm working, an hour away from my house because nobody else will hire me because I'm stealing from everywhere. I end up going to work to pull in, and I pull in and I pull the mirror down, and I put my lip gloss on, you know, prepping to go in there, and I get a on my window, and I turn around and I look, and there's a cop at my window. So I roll the window down, and he says, "Ma'am, I need you to come in here with me." I'm like, "Okay." But now I'm like freaking out because I know that they know I'm stealing. And I'm thinking I'm about to go to prison for God knows how long because. So he takes me inside. I go into the office. My manager's in there, which is odd because she's usually not there when I come into work. But hi, Tank. She's usually not there when I come in there, but obviously she's there for a reason. And I go inside, we go into the office, and there's 3, 4 cops in there, right? And they pull me up and sit me down in front of a computer to show me myself stealing. Okay? And what they show me on camera is me stealing cigarettes. And she tells me that she knows I'm voiding, but she's not sure. And they show me all in like a 5 minute time span me taking cigarettes, letting Chris grab whatever he wants out of the store and bagging it, pretending to ring it up, putting the cigarettes in his bag, taking a few dollars from him, and letting him leave. Okay, so I got busted for this. So at this point, rude. At this point, they give me a couple options. They tell me that I can go to jail, and then she could pull all the footage from how long I've been working there to show how much I've been stealing and what I've been stealing. Or um, I can write everything down and give it to them with the estimated amounts I think that I've stolen. I didn't work here very long, so because of this, I wrote, that I had stole X, X, and X, and then they tallied it up and made me pay it back. Um, and I had until a certain day to pay back what I had stolen, or she was going to take me to court with all the footage of everything I had stolen. So I knew, like, I only have one option here, really, and that is to make sure that this gets paid, right? Okay, but now I'm jobless, so here I am jobless again. And if y'all are wondering, yes, this is where I learned that I can't keep working at gas stations, skimming money and stealing. So this is the job that finally did it for me. I was like, you know what? I'm done with the gas station thing. I, by the grace of God, didn't go to jail. Like, I'm literally the only person that I know that can do the shit that I've done and not go to prison or jail. And I mean, I am so very thankful. I am not glamorizing what I done by any means. It is not cool, and I am very ashamed. But I am very thankful that I did not go to prison. So this time, I'm trying to figure out what to do to hurry up and get a job to make quick money. I really am not sure what to do. Because I know now, like, I can't get a job and I want to get a job waitressing, but I'm scared of people calling my past employers. I'm like, nobody is going to hire me. And I was right, nobody would. So I'm putting in applications and nobody's calling. I am screwed. So I end up panhandling and pawning things and the little shit I had left, doing petty theft and things like that. And it didn't take a few weeks of me panhandling and living that lifestyle. I remember my face being so beat by the sun from being outside all day, trying to make enough money to get well and be fine overnight and the next morning to get up and do it again. I mean, what an exhausting life, you guys. I remember very vividly one day.
What I'm saying right here is I remember women coming up to me and bringing me a bunch of Mexican food in a bag. And I remember when she gave it to me, I was so excited, and I finally realized how hungry I was from being outside.
I don't know when the last time it was that I had had a real meal. Um, and in that moment, I literally grabbed the food and went and sat in a parking lot and ate it. And sitting there eating it, I counted my money and realized that I had enough to get well. That if I got something right then, I would have to come back out there. So I was debating on whether I was just going to stay out for the rest of the day and panhandle the rest of what I needed or get well or high and come back out. And in that moment, I remember Chris pulling up in my car and I told him, this is it for me. I can't do this. I remember him being frustrated. And I said, I want to go to rehab. I can't keep living this life. And I told him I wanted to go home. So he took me home and did some petty theft to make sure we could get by. And I was reaching out for my insurance, trying to find a rehab to go to. Because I just couldn't keep doing it. I mean, I have been using for not even a full year, probably like 8 months at this point. So 8 or 9 months, and this is all the shit that I've done and gone through. It hasn't even been a year. I've gone through like 5, 6 jobs. I've moved states and keep just finding myself in a worse situation. So I was done. And I just started IVs and I was terrified of, you know, blowing veins and I had gotten cotton fever, which is, if you don't know what that is, congratulations. It's awful. Um, just so many things I got through. So at this point, I contact my family and I tell them I want to go to rehab. I tell them I have a problem. But I didn't tell my family that I was using heroin. I told them that I was on pills because I was so ashamed that I was a heroin addict. Um, and I knew that it was going to be news to my family in general that I was an addict, um, that they would be shocked. I had a feeling that they would, looking back on it now, I'm sure they were upset and shocked, but at the same time, it was like, well, that makes sense. Well, now we have an answer to what the fuck she's been going through. There's a misconception about rehab, and people always say, "Oh, you need to go to rehab. You need to get help. You need to do this. You need to do that." And that is very true. Suboxone maintenance, methadone maintenance, inpatient, outpatient rehab, whatever works for that person. Different strokes for different folks. The same thing doesn't work for everybody. Um, but I want to say that it took me a week to find a rehab that would take me. I went to rehab and I had Chris drop me off. One day, it was not too far from my house. I think it was like 8 miles away. I pack my bag, he drops me off, and I sit there for a few hours to go through intake for them to tell me they didn't have a bed and they couldn't take me. So here I am, my duffel bag full of crap, and I throw it over my shoulder and I walk 8 miles back to my apartment, feeling so defeated and so sick of it. So sick of it. And I'm hurt, I'm angry, and I get back there and I get high. And I do this for a couple of days. And I reached out to my mom, and my mom helped me with all these numbers to rehabs. So I'm calling all these numbers, telling them, hey, my name's da 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 da, I'm a heroin addict, I need to come in for detox, I need help. And they asked me if heroin's the only thing I'm coming off of, and if I'm suicidal. Yes and no. Okay, well, I'm sorry, we don't have a bed for you. And this was everybody. I mean, I shit you not, I'm calling rehabs after rehabs after rehabs, from Kentucky to Murfreesboro to Chattanooga. I was calling everywhere. I had called a place. I almost went to Alabama because they were the only place that would take me. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. Um, and I called Rolling Hills, um, in Tennessee, and I called them, and I'm on the phone with the guy, and he says, um, "Are you coming off of something other than heroin?" I said, "No." He said, "Are you suicidal?" I said, "Honestly, if you tell me no, it's debatable because I have called rehab after rehab after rehab and nobody will take me, and I can't keep living like this." After a long pause, he said, "I have a bed for you on a dual detox unit if you can come in today." And I didn't have a ride that day. He told me he would hold the bed for me till tomorrow evening. So I called my sister, and my sister come and picked me up and took me to rehab the next day. And I checked into Rolling Hills Hospital in Tennessee, and yeah, I remember checking into that rehab and just being so relieved to be there, no matter how shitty I felt. Um, I remember the intake process being excruciatingly long. It was like 12 hours. I laid there in a room by myself waiting for someone to come get me. And they come got me and they checked me in. I took my bras away from me, my shoestrings, anything that I could possibly cut my circulation off with or scratch myself with. Which I wasn't suicidal, but I just wanted it that bad. And I remember getting in there and they told me I was coming off Xanax, that it was in my urine, which it must have been in the dope. See, that's the thing. You never know what you're doing when you're doing dope. I mean, it's not approved by the FDA. It doesn't go through anybody. It's just whatever that person wants to put in there, and you're putting that in your vein. My God. But they told me I was coming off of Xanax, and they couldn't give me a Suboxone treatment to help me detox because it would make me have a seizure or something that I could have an adverse reaction. It could kill me, so they weren't going to give it to me. So I was in there my first 3 days, cold turkey in there, and as much as it sucked, I was happy. I was in a good place. Um, I had a handful of friends in there, but we all came in, not too long after one another, and I really enjoyed rehab. Um, and my fourth day when I was able to take this Suboxone, I did, and I felt so much better. And I took Suboxone for 3 days, and then after that, I didn't need it anymore. I felt fine. I told them I didn't want it. I was refusing the Suboxone and taking the rest of my meds. And they ended up letting me go early because I told them I was good. I was ready to go. And I think at the time I was. Um, but I think at the time I was ready, but I wasn't ready to be released to what I got out to. Um, and I think I'm gonna cut this one here and I will share my first relapse in the next one.